Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Incoherent Report. This week we're talking opening week Major League Baseball. I'm real excited about this. I've been waiting all winter for baseball to start back up. I'm not a huge football fan, so I'm happy to see baseball back. Spring training's over and done with. Regular season's 1 week in. There's some teams that have jumped to the tops of the divisions that you didn't expect to see there right away. And then there's some contenders that you expected would be right in the top half of the division all season long and are starting out, down near the bottom. Now, I know we're only 8 games into the season, 162 game schedule. I know that. But it's kind of interesting to see where everybody's at. We're going to be talking today about my predictions. What do I think is going to happen? What do I hope is going to happen? We're going to see how the divisions are shaping up right out the gate. And we're going to be talking starting pitching. Now, I'm going to start with the starting pitching. There's some pitchers that you were thinking were going to carry their squads, and they were really hoping to get off to a hot start, and that's not happening for some of the squads. Tampa Bay, they sent James Shields in the offseason to the Royals for some young talent, and David Price became their number one guy. He's not starting out so hot, 0-2, 8.18 ERA. Now, the Rays, they've had a couple calls go not their way, i.e. last night's game against the Rangers, Joe Nathan's 300 save, Ben Zobrist taking what should have been ball 4, put 2 on, 2 out, bring Evan Longoria to the plate. Didn't happen, got rung up. Bad call, umpire owned it. Mistakes happen. We'll talk about instant replay later. I'm not going to get into that today. Anyway, 0-2, 8.18 ERA to start the season. Not too hot. Matt Cain, Giants opening day starter. He's 0-1, 8.38 ERA. Cole Hamels, Philadelphia Phillies. They were going to ride Hamels, Halladay, and Lee. What looked like it was going to be one of the most dominating trio in Major League Baseball. Not so much out the gate. Cliff Lee's doing all right. He's the one carrying the team right now. Hamels, their opening day starter, 0-2, 10.97 ERA. Roy Halladay, 0-2, 14.73 ERA. His 2 starts, he has not gone more than 4 innings yet. I know it's early in the season. There was some talk in spring training about him being down on velocity. That may be a factor in it. We're early in the season. Guys aren't getting stretched out all the way yet. Maybe his off-season workouts weren't enough. Maybe spring training wasn't long enough for him. We don't know. Hamels and Halladay so far combined 0-4 with a 12.50 ERA. Not working out so well. R.A. Dickey, traded from the Mets to the Blue Jays, part of the Blue Jays' big offseason acquisitions. He's 0-2, 8.44 ERA. Angels, Jared Weaver, opening day starter. He's got a no decision and a loss under his belt for his first 2 starts, 4.91 ERA. Then, he dodges that comebacker down in Texas, puts his left arm down to try to brace his fall. He ends up with a non-displaced radial head fracture on his left arm. Not his pitching elbow, but, it's still going to sideline him 4 to 6 weeks. I've been telling I work with a lot of Angels fans, and my biggest concern for them was their starting pitching depth. If they lost one of their starters, who were they going to go to? Garrett Richards, his rookie season with the Angels, not so hot. He did well out of the pen back into last season, but his starting wasn't so good. Jerome Williams, he was really inconsistent. He was more consistent out of the pen. So if the Angels are going to be decimated by injuries to their starting staff, that's where they're going to be exploited. I really like the moves they made on their bullpen. Now, granted, Ryan Madson hasn't worked out yet. He's still battling, so getting him back's going to be big for them. Kevin Jepsen, he didn't do so hot tonight, but, he's better than he was last season. He's notoriously a slow starter, so, hopefully, he gets started a little quicker than he has in the past. St. Louis Cardinals, Mott, possibility that he's going to have season-ending Tommy John surgery. They don't know yet. They were looking at just weakness and some strains to the ligaments, but they didn't notice any tears. Well, after the inflammation cleared, they reevaluated him and found a slight tear in the ligament. They're hoping they've already said he's going to get 3 weeks rest before he starts up his throwing program. So hopefully that will be enough for him, because right now Boggs has been their would-be closer by committee at that point, and he hasn't been doing too hot. He got shelled his last time out, so we'll see. You're really hoping or expecting to see St. Louis, really contend with the Reds this season for that NL Central. Don't know, the bullpen was always one of their strong suits. Now, you don't know where they're going to end up. I mean, granted, we're only 8 games in. They're at 500, so, it could go either way. You hope they get rolling soon. All right, let's start with the NL West. You were figuring you were going to get a 3-team race between the Dodgers, Giants, and in third you were going to end up with Arizona. Arizona was going to try to play spoiler, and Colorado and San Diego, I was figuring they were going to end up at the bottom of the division. Right now, Arizona and Colorado and San Francisco are all leading the division. Dodgers 1 game back, and San Diego, they won tonight. They're now 2-5. In all honesty, this division is going to be a 2-team race between the Giants and the Dodgers. Not a big Dodger fan. My family is, but I love to see the Dodgers lose. So we'll see how they play out. They're going to be destined for the playoffs. Giants may win the division, Dodgers may win the division. Doesn't matter. The other team is going to end up with one of the wild card slots. It's just how it's going to end up. NL Central, you're going to be sitting there looking at the Cardinals and the Reds. I figure the Reds are going to end up getting this division, but the Cardinals are going to be close. They might put a charge into it late back into the season, especially if Mott doesn't end up having to have Tommy John. But, the prognosis on that probably isn't very good. Milwaukee starting out real slow. They're 2-6 right now. You expected them to be more in the middle of the division, even top half, hopefully contending, maybe playing spoiler. Pittsburgh, really hoping they end up with a winning season. They haven't done it in years. They've got a good squad. I think they've got good enough to contend, but, I still think they're a year or two away from truly being a contender in that division. The Cubs, they're rebuilding. They're not going to do anything this season. Let's just face facts. The poor Cubs, they're destined to, greatness, but they will never fulfill it. NL East, 2-team race, Atlanta, Washington. Whoever doesn't win that division out of that 2 is going to end up with this second wild card spot. That's a foregone conclusion. The Mets, another rebuilding team. They sent Dickey off. Philadelphia, you were figuring they were going to be there, but they probably weren't going to be in line to make one of the playoff spots. That lineup's starting to get older. They need to get some young guys in there. Miami, they gutted that lineup after the experiment with Jose Reyes, Burley, that super team that supposedly they were going to have, and ended very disappointingly last season. So, they ship off all those guys, get a few guys back. Miami's going to be one of those teams that's in that rebuilding phase. Over to the American League, AL West, this division is going to be one of those interesting ones. You figure Houston in there, payroll $25 million starting out. A-Rod's making more this season sitting at home watching the games on his couch than the entire Houston lineup is collecting in pay. So you figure the Angels with that lineup and the starting rotation, their starting rotation has a lot of potential. So, as long as Weaver gets back soon and that entire rotation gets on track and, gets rolling, that team can really do some damage. They got one of the best offenses in baseball on paper. Josh Hamilton's hitting 150 right now. Yeah, not what you expect when you spend that kind of money. slow start. The Angels have always been a slow starting team. They've always been a second half team. Last year they didn't start out so hot, so they should make a run at it. And in all honesty, I think the Angels are going to be fine. Seattle, with picking up Morse and re-signing Felix Hernandez, with the Vargas trade with Anaheim picking up Kendrick Morales. I think Seattle can actually make a run at it this year. Do I still think they're maybe 1-2 years away? Yeah, but do I think that they might surprise some teams this season? Yes, I do. Oakland, can they repeat from what they did last year? Yeah, I can. They're a young, scrappy team, and they proved it last season that you don't need a bunch of high-dollar players to make the playoffs and really come out and surprise some teams. Texas, they lost a lot of guys. I don't see them really being, fighting for that number one spot. I think they're going to be a third-place finish. In all honesty, I kind of feel that the AL West is going to shape up Oakland, Angels, Seattle, Texas, or Oakland Angels, Texas, Seattle. Those two teams are going to probably be fighting for the third slot. AL Central, in all seriousness, this is Detroit's division. Kansas City, they're still another year away from really being a contender. Yeah, they made some good moves this season to solidify their lineup and their starting rotation, picking up James Shields. So, this year, do I think they're going to be there and, could play spoiler? Yes. Do I think they're going to be the one to win the division? No. Could they be a surprising playoff finisher? Yeah, maybe. Minnesota, don't really see them finishing all that well. Cleveland, they're bringing in Terry Francona. I really think that squad is another 2-3 years down the road. Yeah, they signed Nick Swisher, but, that's not enough for what they need. White Sox, they've got some good talent on that team. Is it enough? No. This is Detroit's division to lose. Unless Detroit is decimated by injuries or just completely implodes, Detroit's going to run away with this division. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So, Detroit's starting rotation is awesome. I mean, Justin Verlander, Cy Young Award winner. I mean, need we say more? Yeah, he's 1-1 right now. He got rocked by the Yankees, but he's not going to lose all the time. And this guy is, your number one starter. He's going to carry this team. He did it last year, and he's going to do it again this year. AL East. This division is completely up in the air. Any one of those 5 teams can win this division, without a doubt. Toronto, they basically took Miami's super team and brought it up to themselves, made a few changes, added some stuff. So, this is going to be a really strong team. They've started 2-5. But, let's go back 2 years. Boston Red Sox started 0-6, and then from May to August, they were the hottest team in baseball. Yeah, they collapsed in September, going 7-20. So, but, again, that was their division to lose. They lost it. So, the early season numbers, 2-5, I'm not worried about Toronto. I think they can really make a run at it. The Yankees, they're 4-4 now. They started out slow, got it, and then started winning the last couple games. So, even with being wrecked by injuries, they've got Phil Hughes out, Mark Teixeira, Curtis Granderson, A-Rod out. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of money tied up on the disabled list, but you can never count out the damn Yankees. As much as I want to count out the Yankees and as much as I want to see them finish dead last, I don't think it's going to happen. By the All-Star break, they're going to have all their guys back, and, the Yankees are really going to make a run at it. And, they're not going to go away. The key for the Yankees this season, I think, as long as they can stay afloat, stay a couple games at 500 or a couple games above, then they can really contend in the second half and make something happen. Baltimore, real strong team last season that They rode their pitching and their bullpen, and there's not a lot changed on this team. This is pretty much the same team as last season. They had a lot of luck last season with one-run games and extra inning games and all that, but they're still a good team. And, they've got a good pitching staff that I think can carry them even in the AL East. Red Sox, I'm a big Red Sox fan, and the last 2 seasons have been complete disappointment. But, they've made a lot of changes to not only the coaching staff, but the clubhouse. They've gotten rid of some guys, brought some guys in. This team, there were a lot of people that didn't like the Johnny Gomes trade or Johnny Gomes signing, the Shane Victorino signing. Older guys. Johnny Gomes not an average hitter, but he's one of those guys. He's that locker room presence. They were looking for positive guys in the locker room to complement Dustin Pedroia and to complement David Ortiz. To really solidify that clubhouse. And I think with this squad, they can really do some damage. They on paper you look at it, you're like, okay, they should be a middle of the pack team, but that chemistry factor, I think this team's actually got it. And as long as John Lester, Clay Buchholz can pitch up to their potential, the Red Sox can ride those 2 starters. Bringing in Ryan Dempster, he's older on the back half of his career, but this guy's an innings eater. So we'll see how he did well in spring training, but spring training doesn't mean crap. I mean, a lot of people put a lot of stock in spring training. I don't. Pitchers aren't using their full repertoire. You're facing a lot of minor league hitters, blah, blah, blah. You can go on with it. So, I think Dempster will be all right. Even if he comes out as a 10-game winner, that's all you need. Felix Doubront, his second full season in the majors, he did real well last season, got a little shaky in the back half of the season, started picking it back up. They were wondering if maybe he was the innings were adding up. That was the most innings he had ever thrown. So, I think Dubront's going to be fine. And, the wild card, John Lackey. He's coming back off of Tommy John. His first start, he's got 8 Ks, and all of a sudden, bicep strain. There's no tears, no damage in there, so they're figuring he's going to miss the start, end up throwing Alfredo Aceves from their long man into the rotation. So we'll see how that works out. They got Franklin Morales is on the disabled list right now. Craig Breslow's on the disabled list. Boston's pitching staff, I'm still a little concerned about Boston's starting rotation depth. Their bullpen depth I'm fine with. Daniel Bard, that whole experiment, I think that was a big mistake right out the gate. And in hindsight, obviously that was a mistake. You're taking one of the best swingmen in the game, try to make him starter. Yeah, that wasn't going to go well. And now he's all screwed up in the head. He's down in Double-A right now, trying to get his mechanics squared away. But Boston's bullpen, I think they're going to be all right. Their starting rotation, as long as the guys stay healthy, should be good. Once Franklin Morales is back with Alfredo Aceves, you got 2 long guys that can eat innings for you. If one of your starters goes down, they can come in and fill that role pretty well. David Ortiz coming back. He should be back in a couple weeks. Stephen Drew is close to coming back. Jose Iglesias has been filling in great for him. He's going to end up back in Triple-A, though. He's got 1 option left, so they can afford to send him down. So that's where the divisions are shaping up. Like I said, AL East could be anybody's game. So right now, you figure as the season goes on, your contenders and your non-contenders are going to start separating from the pack. So we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. We'll come back, we'll revisit this topic, and kind of do an update, see where everybody's at. We know where everybody's at right now, and we'll see kind of who makes a run at it, who kind of gets in the groove. Angels notorious slow starters, so I figure they're going to figure it out. So they'll be fine. Dodgers, you figure they're going to do all right. You never know with the Dodgers whether they're going to start slow and make a run at it on the second half, or they're going to start hot and fall apart. I love nothing more than seeing Dodgers fall apart, but that's another story for a different time. So that's it for this week. Next week, maybe we'll visit some baseball. See some news stories out there, just some hot button issues. We'll see what pops up between now and then. We'll always visit baseball, spend a couple minutes on that. You guys like the video? Hit the subscribe down below. You can also check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Incoherent Report. So that's it for this week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.